It is Saturday and I'm doing something recreational. So in my laboratory, a friend of mine called Zach, he started collecting these old school games, portable games. Here we have a Sega Game Gear, and I'm doing a recapping of it. I'll show you what the problem is in a bit, but basically you turn it on, the light goes on. With the brightness set to minimum, you can kind of distinguish an image going on there, but then as you fiddle around with the brightness knob, it just generates some weird lines on the screen. The sound is also faded. So what I did until now is I've replaced two of these capacitors on the power supply. I didn't replace this because it's an 820 microfarad and I only have 1000 microfarad. I don't know if that's gonna be different. I'll do this last with an 1000 one if that's gonna be the case. And I already started, so two of these are replaced. I did another one on this motherboard. I started with the shittiest one to get to 100 microfarads, and there's another 100 microfarads here. When you desolder these, it stinks, and the stench is this liquid here. Don't know if you can see it on the camera. The stench is the actual electrolyte from the capacitors coming down. Now obviously these are a different kind of thing, they have a square envelope and stuff, and mine are normal. So what I'm attempting, this is my technique here to match these pins like that. I'm just doing this and resoldering. When you do such things, make sure you note the polarity, because if you put them the other way around, you're gonna break stuff probably. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do this until I replace all of these biscuits here, and it's probably gonna work. Now if after replacing this the machine is gonna work, then sadly I can't show you the lines that you used to have, but you're gonna have to trust me on this. Or if you don't trust me, you can go on YouTube. There's another guy called Back Office Show, and he's got a clip how to recap and repair your Sega Game Gear, and my problem is exactly what he has right here. I like watching these clips when I do similar things because one, I get inspired, and two, they're pretty funny. Some guys are really cool, so I like watching other people that do what I do. So here it goes. Let's put this in here. When you desolder these, it's sometimes, because the solder is old, sometimes you gotta put some new solder in there just to make the connection. So now turn on my soldering iron. It's funny because I fixed a lot of things just by resoldering the terminals, and now I came across this technique of recapping everything, and that's gonna fix loads of things. Puts things into perspective, really. Alright, so I'm gonna do that to all of them, but first let's see what's going on. Let's give it a test. What I want to do is, after each of these replacements, I want to test it to see exactly which fucker is the problem, although I think all of them are combined, the problem with these machines. So that goes back in here. I've got, hey, alright. Yeah, so that didn't work. These are the lines that I was talking about. And now if I take the brightness to the minimum, I don't know if you can tell, but it says Sonic here. Hey, the island. Press start. There's my character. There's me moving. I don't know if it comes across in the camera. Jumping. And the sound. Not a lot of sound, let's just put it this way. And when I wank the brightness, boom, the image makes no sense. Although when I move, stuff moves on the screen, so there's stuff happening. Look, there's stuff happening really. Alright, so I'm gonna replace all of them. So this one didn't work. Incidentally, this smell of capacitors leaking I associated with some electronics that I had when I was a little kid, and I thought that's the smell they have, but that's actually the smell of leaky capacitors. The smell of their demise, actually. But now we know, now I know, I have this VHS-C camera that smells exactly like that. And now I know why. But the thing is, replacing all the capacitors in that might take a while. 1, 2, 4.7 micros. Let's replace that. This one is the next one. I'll set this camera on time lapse and do my thing. Here's the future engineer. So I've managed to replace all the capacitors, I think. And I still get shit. But I have sound now. Whoa! Alright. At least now I know I sorted something. Yeah, what's up? I can still see it fade out there. Yeah, there's definitely sound. There's two that I didn't replace because I don't have those values. But I'm just gonna replace them with the closest value that I have, really. Because in my mind, the bigger the value, the more filtration it applies. So this is a 68 microfarads. I don't have that, but I have an 100. I don't think it's gonna mind if I put in 100 here. Now this is marked R47. Maybe that's 0.47. We'll try that. Let's see what happens with that. So I did some research, and these R47 capacitors, that actually means 0.47. So I'm just gonna replace those. Right, so I've finished replacing all the capacitors. Let's see what's going on. What do you know? It's got these lines here. I don't know what the fuck's going on with these lines, but the screen is working, and I think the sound is obviously working. I think these lines might come from the display connection or something. Let's have a look. Not a lot of contrast in this. Let's see if we can actually play. I think we can. Sega! Press the start button. I'm pressing the start button. There we go. A bit too loud for me. I'm afraid that the screen is a damaged one. This is like broken lines of pixels, and nothing happens when I touch this thing. You know, like if it was like a bad solder joint or something, when I would move these, stuff would improve or get worse or something like that. Doesn't seem to do that though. Right, so that's the connections for the screen. I'm gonna attempt to resolder them, which can make them better or worse. So let's have a go. Huh? Still there. Yeah, it's gonna need a new screen. It is what it is, really, but I'm glad I got it working. That's a major improvement. So one last test before I put all the screws together and draw my final conclusion. Right, so it works. So the final conclusion is it did not work until I replaced all the capacitors. Now it's either all of them were at fault, or they're interdependent. The voltages in an electronic device are interdependent, so that all capacitors need to be replaced for the thing to work. Now I've got another 80s machine right here, this 80s boombox that I'm restoring, and that has a bit of issues also. So the FM radio doesn't work, this thing doesn't work, and the potentiometers and things need cleaning. But if that's the case, replacing all the capacitors in this, holy smokes, yeah, this could be a project. But this is working now. I'm happy, everybody's happy. Except these lines, but it is what it is. Sweet. Let's try another cartridge. Let's try Sonic again. There it is. Sega.